Thank you for coming.
Thank you all for coming. We're going to go ahead and get started. So thank you so much. I'm Leah.
I'm Megan.
And this is Biblio Bites.
Yay! And today we're really excited to talk to you about charcuterie basics. And that's how you say the word, in case you're not sure, charcuterie. And it's actually a French word that means deli. So like at a deli, you have meats and cheeses. And so that's a lot of what a charcuterie board is. It's cut meats and cheeses and then lots of other fun things to add. So we have a couple books that we're featuring here today. One of them's called Beautiful Boards, and another one's called Around the Board. And they both have really great ideas that we have taken from, but we're not making like a specific board from them because we're just kind of teaching you the basics today. I also have this really cool, this is my personal thing. It's called Cheese Board Deck, and it has cards in it of different styling techniques, and it gives you all the instructions on the back, so it's really cool. I got it as a gift, so I thought I'd bring it. But yeah, we're excited to teach you all the, oh no!
Almost showed all of them.
Yeah. We're excited to teach you what we know, but the cool thing I think about charcuterie boards is that you can't really go wrong. It's like a chance for you to express yourself and just put things that you like, and so this is just kind of teaching you the basics, but you should do it the way you want to. So don't feel like you have to follow all the rules we're telling you.
And one cool thing that we had talked about and the books definitely suggest is that these definitely is a way to try new things, because a lot of times when you have them on here, you're not doing super large portions of something. So if you're unsure, you can get this, try it, put it on there, and everybody can have a little sample of it, you know? So it doesn't have to be like, you don't feel like you're wasting food maybe. So.
And they, in the book, they recommended like putting one thing on your board every time that you've never tried before, just kind of for fun. And I thought that was a cool idea. And they said it's also a good way for kids to try new foods they might not have ever tried before, because there's just a little bit, and they can just take a piece, and it's not wrong to just pick off the plate and try one. And if you don't like it, you don't have to take any more. So there's a lot of really cool aspects of the boards. And so first we're going to talk about the different boards that you can use. So I have mostly wood boards, and I like the way that they look, and that's just kind of what I have.
A fancy one.
Cute rainbow. And we also borrowed this fancy one from one of the staff members, Sandy, that works here, and it's really cool because it has a spot, I don't want to drop it, a spot where it has knives in it, and it has a spot for these little bowls. So it's really cool. And we're going to use that, but we're going to show you how to make one on 2 different boards. So we'll set that aside for now, but it's really neat. You can also use like a ceramic board. I have this cute one. It's kind of small, but they have bigger ones. They have ones that are really cool shapes. I saw one the other day at Target that looked like a wreath. And so you could make a board that looked kind of like a wreath, and I thought that was really cool. So,
yeah. And I've seen them like, I think is like kind of snowman shapes or like different holiday themed. And again, like the different materials they're made out of. You could honestly just use a cutting board if that's what you have. And you don't want to buy something special, you can do that. So.
And another thing I've done is I had like a housewarming party, and I have a really big countertop, and so I rolled out a piece of butcher paper, and I put all the meats and cheeses on it and wrote with a Sharpie like, this is Gouda, this is salami, and it was really fun. It went over really well, and I got to put out a lot of stuff because of that. And
so
the cleanup was awesome because I just got to throw away that butcher paper. So you can really do anything, which is cool. Oh, and this is another thing I have. I really like charcuterie boards. So I have a lot of things here. This is something, I like made it at a craft night. I like put this on there with vinyl, but it's for charcuterie cones. And that's kind of a new thing that you can just put like the meats and cheeses and a couple little things in a cone, and then they can like walk around, and it's like a grab and go thing. So that is a fun way to do it too. So there's lots of possibilities here. But we're going to start by using this big wood board because we want to show you a lot of things, and so we like this one because it's really big. And we also have different knives.
Yes,
do you want to talk about your cheese knife, Leah?
So this one is this is my cheese knife that I really like a lot because it's designed to cut cheese. Have you ever cut cheese and it sticks to your knife? That will not happen with this one. So this one, because it has the holes in it, it prevents that from sticking to that, so you can do a smooth cut of cheese every single time, which is really cool. And then we also just have these other different ones. These are kind of more typical if you buy like a charcuterie board kit. These are typical ones that's going to come with it. And these have, actually, our books talk about them and tell you the different cheeses that are best used to cut which knives, which is really cool.
And it said like this one is good for like cheese that crumbles more. So we're going to use that for our feta cheese because you can just kind of make a little crumble with it. And then these ones are just kind of for other normal, like harder cheeses. And then this one has a little kind of fork on the top if you want to use that. So there's lots of
course, you got just the fork in this set. And these ones are all kind of similar, but just smaller versions.
And part of the fun with the cheese board is that you want it to look pretty too. So like you can leave the cheese partly just as a block and then cut a few pieces for people to take, and then you can cut more as the night goes on, and you can add more of your ingredients as the night goes on. So that's kind of fun, is that you can cut the cheese in different ways. So we'll talk about that.
So next, we're going to get started just kind of showing you a good layout and kind of ideas of what you can do. And again, like we said, this is like, the neat thing about these is they can be different every single time you do them. So they don't have to be the same every time. They don't have to be perfectly uniform. You know, you can just put things on there however you want, whatever makes you happy. So.
And it also can be like stuff you have in your pantry. So if you don't have a good dinner idea, look in your pantry, and then it might look like you came up with this really fancy board, but it's just stuff you have in your pantry. So that's okay. That's kind of the point of it, is that it's just a lot of different stuff. But one thing that the book recommended that I thought was a good idea to start is if you're using any bowls to have like spreads, or if you have like a soft like marinated cheese or something like that,
dips.
A dip, you might want to put it in a bowl. So they suggest setting out your bowls on your board first and then kind of going around after that. So we're just going to kind of set them on there however we like. And whatever you think, yeah. And then I also have some little spoons that we can use as well. I might wait to put those in there till later, but just think about that too. You'll need stuff to actually scoop the things out with. And then the next suggestion of things to add to your board is your bigger items. So it suggested doing our cheese next, because like I mentioned, you're gonna want to probably have a little bit of your block still on the board so it looks pretty, so that will take up some space. So we're gonna work on our cheese first.
So we got 3 different types of cheeses today. This one is just a cheddar. It's a Westminster rustic red cheddar. So you can see it's just a real yellow one.
And then this one is called Drunken Goat. So it's a goat cheese. Yeah. It's a goat cheese that has different like wines in it. And then this is just some feta. And so in the book, it suggested you start with like 3 cheeses and 3 meats. And then depending on the size of your crowd, you can go bigger or less if your crowd is not so many people. But it suggested starting with 3 cheeses. So that's what we did. And I love variety. And that's kind of the fun part about the boards. And so I wanted to get ones that were different colors. So we have some that are white, some that are yellow. And then this one has like a dark brine on it. And also textures. So like some of them, like the cheddar is going to be a harder cheese, and then the feta is like a soft crumbly cheese. So we like having variety. And then another thing to think about, there's so many things to think about, and you don't need to think about it, but if you if you want to, you can.
Yeah.
It suggested you could have a cheese that's made with goat's milk, a cheese that's made with sheep's milk, and a cheese that's made with cow's milk. And so that's what we did.
Yeah. So we have our cow's milk for the cheddar.
And then the feta is sheep's milk, and Drunken Goat is, of course, goat's milk.
The cool thing about this, we bought these at Fry's, and what Fry's has, you know, I don't know if you guys have been there, they have that huge cheese, like, tub, I don't know what you call it, but trough almost. But what they have is, you can even see on here, there's pictures. So this is a cow's milk. It's got a little cow.
And this one has a little goat.
And on their signs that tell you what kinds they are, like the names of them, they had little pictures of the goat or the cow. And so that was pretty helpful, which I never noticed until we
were looking,
learned about all this. And so that was kind of helpful to kind of get the right kind that you're looking for.
And they have so many choices there. It's an awesome fries. So they have every cheese I feel like you could imagine.
Yeah,
So they had one that we saw that had chocolate in it.
Yeah.
So there are so many fun things.
So many.
But we'll start by like cutting our cheese. Yeah, we'll just use one of our little cutting boards. The hard part is getting it open. That is true. You were right. I think Leah's doing a really good job.
I just cut it with the knife.
Maybe I should have her do mine.
There you go.
She is good at many things, many talents she has.
There you go.
Oh, you probably wanted to cut this one. I took it from you.
Oh, well, I have the knife.
Okay. Has anybody made charcuterie boards before? You probably have, because maybe not even knowing you were doing it. Because it's like pretty intuitive that something people always do, have a tray of like meat and cheese or fruits, veggies. So that makes it less scary too, because you've probably already done it. I'm still struggling with
Oh
this
no!
one. That's not my talent. I'm sorry.
Okay, there we go. Oh no, we're leaking.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. But we did it. We made it.
These aside.
So, like I said, with this one that's like a soft, crumbly cheese, I'm going to use this knife that will just kind of break off pieces. So that's all I'm going to do, is just kind of break off some little crumbles. And you don't need to like have big slices or anything of this cheese, because it's just meant for like little kind of nibbles of cheese. So I'll just do a couple of those. And
For this one, I really didn't decide how I wanted to cut this one. What we can do even is we can go in half this way, and then we can use maybe this one just for kind of looks, and we'll stick it on there. And then this one, we can even go long ways and do more like your normal slices. And you see that? No stick on my knife. And then of course, while you're doing that, you can always, you can make them as thin or thick as you want. That's the nice thing about having the block of cheese versus like pre-cut or something, which you can do is fine, but that kind of allows you the freedom to have whatever sizes you want,
Yeah. And you can leave the brine on your cheese if you want to, or you can take it off. I kind of like it because it has some color, so I'm probably going to leave mine on, but then on my slices, I'll just make sure and slice parts that don't have that brine on there. So
for that, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to I'll move that aside. Just kind of layer them like this for that, and just get them on there. And then we'll stick that one on there just for looks.
Okay. So I'm just going to kind of cut this and have some little slices here. Oh, do you want to go ahead?
No, either way. I
Go
just
ahead.
want to know if you wanted this.
The cheese knife is really good at making sure it doesn't stick.
Yeah.
So,
I got yellow cheese on there now.
yeah. So then, like I said, we are looking for the bigger items. So I think I'm going to go for my grapes next, because they're pretty big. And we did wash these. We did wash these already, so don't worry. And we got this pack of grapes because they were 3 different colors. And so we love the variety again. And so we are going to just place some on the board. Leah, you go ahead. You take some. And like we said, this kind of small portions, because we want to make sure we have enough room, because we have a lot of stuff. And we want to have all the stuff on there.
And then maybe like that one. Nope, never mind. I like that one better.
And it's also nice because if you don't like the way something looks, you just change it.
Just move it.
It's very low stakes.
Yeah. How about we maybe do this one? This one didn't have a lot of green on it, or a lot of green as much, so we'll just do a little bit one
Yeah.
right there maybe.
Okay. And then we also have meats. So like we're going with that 3 rule. So we picked 3 different meats to put on there. We picked pepperoni, salami, and then just some turkey. And that was something in the book that it suggested using turkey, and I hadn't really thought about that before. You can go a lot fancier, and you can use like prosciutto. You can use, there was one that it suggested in there that was like a very thinly sliced beef that I've never tried before that I was really interested in.
This one, right?
So I think so. So there's lots of really good ideas in here of things that you can use that I've never even thought about.
Yeah,
so,
this one here, it kind of looks. And these are awesome. As you flip through them, you'll see there's many different like styles and ways, which we can talk about and show you more, but there was lots and lots of different ideas in it, so they're very cool.
And that book is really cool because it tells you what tastes good together, what pairs well together. So like if you have Gouda cheese, it has a few examples. There's not every cheese on there, but some popular cheeses, it says like Gouda pairs well with honey, with, you know, thyme, with crackers that are
whole grain or something
things like that. And so it has a lot of really good ideas. So if you don't know where to start, it's very helpful, I think.
So Megan's going to show you something fun with the salami.
I am.
And I'm going to start putting the pepperoni on, and I'm just kind of going to make like a zigzag around my bowls here, just for kind of a little design. So I'm going to work on that, and then
that's why we put the bowls on first, because then we can kind of go around them, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you guys how to make a little rose out of the salami, which is really fun. So all you do is you take your salami and you line it up, but like mine in the package was already lined up like that, so pretty helpful. And then you just fold it in half, and then you just roll it up. Very easy. So, and then you can kind of like play with the edges of it to open it up a little more, but you have a cute little rose. And then you can put that anywhere on your board that you want, maybe in the middle because it's pretty fun. And then I might make another one too.
Yeah, why not?
You can set out the salami as well, but it's really big, so I'm gonna do it again and make another rose.
One thing that I talked about with some staff earlier is that some people are probably not going to want to ruin the rose to eat it.
That's
so it
true.
might be a good idea if you do something like the flower, instead of doing a second one, leave some out just like in strips or something like you would the pepperoni kind
That's
of.
a good thought.
Is that it's second spot, which today we're mostly here for aesthetics, right? So we're just going to make it pretty.
Yeah.
But that's something to think about if you're doing for a party or something, you know.
And one thing that the book said is that these are especially good if you're having a party, because just charcuterie boards in general, because if you have them out right when people walk in, they won't be afraid to start eating, you know, that they'll just start grabbing the food, because it is something where someone can just take one and not feel like they're ruining something, you know. So I kind of love that they bring people together and that they just can kind of start your party.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a cool point that I hadn't thought of before. And then with the turkey, I'm just going to kind of stick it on there. I don't have a huge, I'm not going to make a rose out of it. So, but I'm just going to kind of make it look pretty. Just kind of put a little pile of it over here. And like we talked about variety, you also want to think about the color variety when you're putting things on your board. So if you have like a white cheese, you might not want to put the really light turkey next to it. You might want to put it by a darker cheese. So whatever you think looks best. So I just stuck some of that over there. And then another big thing we're gonna have to put on is like our bread and crackers. So we just have some little slices of bread, and we did get everything at Fry's. So
Yeah.
anything that you see here today, you can go get at Fry's, which is pretty cool.
So I just got, these are just wheat thins, and then she just has, like she said, just some regular bread.
Little bread. And with the texture, you're thinking also about eating it. So if you have like soft meats and cheeses, you want some crunchy crackers. You want some crunchy nuts. And then you also want like some spreads that are smooth, and then, you know, the meats that have like kind of a softer texture. So there's just a lot to think about. There's so many fun aspects.
I feel like those are kind of, if you want something impressive, that's probably something that you're wanting to think about, is color, texture, and what was the other thing you said? Variety, but color, texture, and
the variety of like different cheeses and like meats, and just having lots of different things, I think. So, yeah. And this other book over here, the Beautiful Boards one, it has kind of more unique boards in it. It has like an after-school board for kids with like goldfish crackers. And it has one that looks like a unicorn and one that looks like a snowman. And so they're really fun, but they're kind of more themed, like a specialized board. So if you need some ideas for a themed event, it's perfect. But if you want to just use stuff you have in your pantry, you can get good ideas from it, but this one I think was especially helpful for getting ideas about the basics. So I'm just gonna stick some little toasts in here. And if you guys have questions, feel free to ask. We're happy to answer questions. We're also not experts. But,
but we just love it. So
yeah, we're excited about it.
Yes.
But I can say I learned everything just from being passionate about it and from books at Apache Junction Public Library. So you could learn as much as me by checking out these books. So keep that in mind.
Another thing we have is just pretzels. We decided to get just these long stick pretzels because we thought they would add a variety of, you know, texture and just the look of them. So we're just gonna kind of pile them on the side over here.
And like with shape, we got crackers that are square. We got bread that's round. So we're just taking a lot of different things into consideration. Yeah, and then the long cylindrical pretzels. We also saw some boards in here that had like yogurt covered pretzels, and we thought that would be a fun thing to add. Sometimes those come in like fun colors too. So that's a good one to keep in mind. And then next, we're kind of just gonna fill stuff in. So we got this mix of
it's like a trail mix
of nuts and like yogurt covered raisins, dried fruits, and we're gonna use that just to like fill in a little bit. And you don't have to do this, but it's just kind of makes it look more full and fancy. So we're just gonna kind of stick that in.
And so basically anywhere like we see little areas where there's empty space, and not necessarily that you can't see board. That's not, like if you see some, that's okay. But just like where there's a big enough space to be significant, we'll just fill some areas in with that.
And the board is pretty. Like you want to, oh no, I have a rogue one. You want to see the board, so you don't have to feel like you need to cover it or anything like that.
And then another thing we kind of forgot to slip in here was we have little honey jars. So we got these, and we were just going to kind of put these in. We'll fit them in here somewhere.
This is the beauty of the board. You can always move something around. You can add anything at any time. Sorry.
Okay. Let's stick one over here. There's some crackers. And then we'll stick one of them maybe on the other side, just for balance, right?
And we do have like sweet and savory items in here too. So we have honey, we have like grapes, and then we have the savory like meats and salty pretzels.
Our dips, our bowl items we'll go over in a minute as well. And then I got a little, I cannot for the life of me think of the name, but a little honey dipper. I'm not sure exactly.
Honey dipper.
But I got one of those, so we'll stick that in there just for cute looks.
And you can also think about like acidity versus, so like if you want something sweet with something acidic, something savory, something salty, there's so many things to think through. So,
and we don't have a lot of fruits. We just kind of had, you know, our grapes is our main fruit, but you can add as many or as little of each item as you want. So if you want to have like a heavy fruit base, then go ahead and do that, and then just have light bits of salty foods or savory, you know? Just kind of make it whatever you like. If you have a big sweet tooth, make it more sweet. Just do whatever fits your party or your, yes, question in the back.
I was late to the party, so I might have missed this,
Okay.
Is there a way to determine how big of a board you would need? Like, say you have 15 people. How would I know how many meats, cheeses, and whatever to put on it?
So
Good question.
it suggests starting with 3 of each. That's just kind of like if you're having a really small party, you should do less, like 2 maybe of each. But just a general number for a party is 3 meats and 3 cheeses. And then you just kind of go bigger with the more people you have. I think the book suggested like 3 ounces of cheese per person. So you can calculate it. The book has exact calculations if you want to be exact. I have to say, in my experience, most people eat only the meat and cheese. So it is fun to have like the breads, and people eat them, you know, but meat and cheese is what people mostly will eat. And so if you want to splurge on something, I would say the meat and cheese is where you should splurge on it. But yeah, so 3 is a good place to start. And another thing to fill in, do you want to talk about it?
It's just kind of herbs or fresh spices and herbs and things, just for kind of like a garnish. It just adds a little extra to kind of make it pop, you know? It kind of just puts a little bit on the top of everything. And so these ones you can honestly just stick in wherever you think they want. The white cheese would be a good place because it kind of complements the green. And just get little bits of them, find ones that look good. And the moral of this is just look, honestly. There's no real, you know, major right or wrong, yeah. But.
And like that board that I was telling you about that looked like a wreath, that's the perfect time to use like fun herbs and make it look kind of like a wreath. You can get cranberries, make it look really fun. So yeah, the herbs and it makes it smell good too.
Yeah.
It's really fresh, and like people aren't going to be eating this but
one,
it's just fun.
We just got tarragon for this, and it kind of has these fun shaped leaves, you know, they're real long, so kind of just adds some fun texture.
Yeah.
And you don't need a whole lot of that, but just a little bit here and there to add some character.
Okay. And then we're going to fill our bowls now. So you can fill your bowls with anything you want. We just got a few things. We got like some pickled items, so we have green olives. And then we have like a stone ground mustard. This one's garlic, so that sounded good. And then we have pesto, and we have some pickled red onions. So you can use whatever you want, though. A lot of times people have like different jams and jellies, or like hot honey.
Something that's really popular is like a spicy jam, which is honestly one of my favorites. We didn't do that one today, but it's especially good if you have like breads and things. I think they pair really good with that, or like, you know, even just having the simple meats and stuff.
Here, Leah.
Oh no.
Yeah, we should have opened that, I guess.
Oh, I got it.
Oh, good job. Good job, Leah. And another thing to think about is that if you do have like items that are like pickled or, you know, kind of more like moisture in them, don't put them next to like the crackers, because you don't want, if you're putting them in a bowl, it's less of a worry, but if you're setting like a pile on the board, it could seep into like your bread and then it will get soggy. So that's just something to think about. Okay.
Can you pass me a spoon for these?
Yeah. Here you go.
Thank you.
And you can use artichoke hearts, you can use little pickles, you can use,
wow.
You can use like marinated mushrooms, and Fry's also has a really great section of stuff like that. They have a whole section, and you buy it by the pound, of different olives and like marinated fetas.
And because the charcuterie boards have been so popular lately, Fry's and most grocery stores are catering to that. So it's very easily available to buy stuff like this, just because it's so popular right now. So
we think maybe they're raising the prices too.
So be careful.
Keep that in mind. Okay. And you can also use like hummus if you want to make like a Mediterranean board. One of the examples in there had something like that, and they used hummus in theirs and different fun Mediterranean flavors, which I thought was a good idea. Okay. We're getting close.
Just do a little bit more. Okay.
Okay. And then just put your little spoons in so that they can grab the items. And then I think we're pretty much done.
Yeah.
Is there anything we're missing?
I don't think so.
So this is just a look at what a board could be, and this one's really big. It has a lot of different things on it. So there's one example, but we also wanted to show you with our smaller round board, by just taking items off of this one, how you could put together another one that's small. Yes, question?
Is there any etiquette in terms of cutlery? Like, should there be little forks or toothpicks to pick up the meat and the cheeses?
So that's a good question. I think you can do that. It probably depends on the vibe of your party. Like if it's your family or close friends and you aren't like that, you can just take it with your hands.
Yeah.
But if you want to, you could definitely have like a thing of toothpicks on the side or like little forks.
And they have like similar things to this, but it's just tiny. And so you could get small forks, or just they have little like tiny serving utensils
Tongs or
and stuff,
something. Yeah.
which you can always use that kind of stuff as well.
I would, Amazon.
Amazon probably, yeah.
I would say even like a Bed Bath and Beyond kind of store, like a kitchen goods store, I think would have something like
Yeah.
that. Or like World Market, places like specialty things like that. I think they would have something. But
Yeah.
Amazon is a good option
Yeah.
for sure. So anyway, this is the big board. Now we're gonna take it apart.
Let's take a picture of it.
Yeah.
Maybe, does anybody want to like look at it up close? 'Cause
Yeah,
I
if you
feel
wanna
like
look
maybe
at
you
it.
should come look at it.
Okay, so we're gonna just move some of this stuff over a little bit so you can see how you can use like a smaller rounder board if you want to. So for this one, you don't have to worry about the bowls because it has little bowls attached to it. So we'll wait on those. But like if you want to have your rows, I'm just gonna stick it in the middle and build out kind of from there. So
And then we can just take our cheeses, and then we'll start like a layer like this. And we had an idea to just kind of do
Alternate.
like an alternate. You know, you do your cheese, and then we'll do a meat, and then we'll do a cheese and a meat,
yeah, so
or a bread. We can.
Mm-hmm.
You can use that too. Which maybe we'll do these ones next. Losing some. And then we'll do turkey. Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
kinda awkward.
No, you're fine. Okay, so we just kind of alternated those. Oh, and more cheese.
We lost one.
Here, you can put it over here maybe.
And then you can even kind of do it
Yes.
that way, maybe.
Yeah. And then it has a good spot right here, so we thought maybe we could put the bread and the crackers in there.
So stick that in this way.
Okay.
And then-
go ahead.
Yeah, and then from there you can just fill your bowls just the same way we did this, and it's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, you can use the same ingredients, and then from here, like we did the fill-ins with this stuff, we can easily take like the grapes, and maybe we'll just pop them off,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll just stick them on this way, whoop, you know, and then just kind of spread them out, and do it kind of like that.
Mm-hmm. Put in your herbs, so you can just kind of make it your own. And that would be like for a smaller group of people. So, yeah. And then we would just transfer all of the sauces into there too. So that's just giving you kind of an idea of how to make a smaller board. But the big ones are really fun, I have to say. And then they're also really good for leftovers. So if you have leftovers for your lunch, you could just have like fun little charcuterie. It's an adult Lunchable, is what someone told me. And so it's kind of fun just to have little meats and cheeses, and it's relatively healthy as well. If you have different veggies, you add fruits. So there's a lot of fun you can have here.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions anybody has?
Would you decorate a cone?
A cone? Oh, that's a good question. I would probably put like a couple little decorations in it, but let's see.
Maybe like a turkey you'd
Yeah,
start with.
we could put turkey.
And then like these cheeses would be good because they're long. So these ones would be good to put in like this way.
Put one more at the other
And
cheese.
like the pretzel I feel like would be really good for that too because it can just stick up.
And then you could just put like a couple grapes in. And then I would put like a fun little, something like
And
that. You know, that's just a quick thing.
You
but-
can still have like your sauces or dips or things, but maybe you would just have them like on the side of that in some kind of, maybe something like this, you know, and you would have it a little bit separate. That way nothing's getting soggy or wet in there.
And you could even offer the cones, like have a board like this, but have cones, and people could build their own and then walk around with it. So that's a good idea too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there another question? I thought I saw another hand.
Are the cones edible?
No, I think that they're bamboo, and they're just from Amazon. When I made that thing, they gave them to me, the cones, but they just got them on Amazon. So that would be cool though, if you had an edible cone. I like that idea.
How long would you recommend to leave your charcuterie board out like that before you cover it with the plastic?
A couple hours. It says in the book that you can leave it out like at your party for a couple hours, but after that you should start putting stuff in the fridge.
And the nice thing about these are typically done as like an appetizer, or, you know, they're not usually done as like a whole meal. Unless you have like a huge one with lots of things, then it can be done that way. Or like really filling things. So if it is just like an appetizer or a kind of a starter or snack or whatever, you're typically not going to want it out all night for, you know, like a long thing anyways. So that's something to think about.
And if you want to make it beforehand, you can also put a lot of the stuff on beforehand, except for like, I wouldn't put like meats and cheeses and stuff, because you don't want them to like, I don't know, get soggy or something. So I would just wrap those up, but then you could put all the other stuff on the board, and you can set it out, and then once you figure out where you want something, take that off and, you know, cover it or something like that. They also suggested, if you're taking it with you to a party, to lay out foil and put the board on top of the foil, build it, and then use the foil to put it on top to transport, because there really isn't a super great way to transport it. So you gotta be careful. Yeah.
And thank you guys so much.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for being
much.
here.